Good Wednesday, everybody. How y'all doing? I just wanted to get on and say, guys, I'm so happy to be here today, but I'm tired. I wanted to get on and say how much I appreciate each and every one of y'all's comments and the love that y'all show me is truly appreciated. Um, Last night I went into a little detail about my mom and the way things have been going down and what has happened in my life to make those things go down and what I see as an issue. So I wanted to get on here today and just say thanks for being there and thanks for all the love that y'all show me. I truly appreciate it. Y'all are so loved and so appreciated. And last night was just something I needed to share and get off my chest. So thanks for listening to that. Okay, so let's get back into it. Let's go into the stories that I've been telling and let's go to the high school years. So the high school years were strange at first and they were still good. I was learning new school, new steps, new classes, block classes. We go AB, so 3 days for certain amount of classes and then 2 days for the other classes. So, yeah, it wasn't, it was completely different experience for me because I've never done that. I've done 7 classes in one day, but that was difficult. Um, so it was like 3 to 4 classes a day and then split up between different days. So, um, got into high school and I was not into a lot of sports at that time, but I did try out for a softball team and I did make it. But before I could even start the season, I threw out my shoulder. And when I threw out my shoulder, I kind of dropped the class and just went to something else. I did do dance. I was in dance and I enjoyed that a lot. I actually was really good at it. And I thought about trying out for our what we call Phillies, but I didn't. And then I went into choir, and choir was my thing. I sing, it's what I do, it's who I am. I grew up in church singing and being in groups and musicals and stuff like that for church, which was amazing and I loved it. That's one of my things I love to sing. That is my go to, that is my outlet, that is my relief from the world 99% of the time. So I am just so blessed that God has given me that talent and I try to share it whenever I can. I was blessed to be accepted into an a cappella group the very first year of high school. And going through that in ninth grade, I was in a cappella. 10th grade, I was in jazz choir. 11th grade, I was in, what was it? I was in concert choir. And then in 11th and 12th grade, I actually did women's select, which was amazing and I loved it. Um, Women's select was just all girls and we'd come up with all different kinds of things where we would go and do competitions and that was like the best outlet that I could ever have. I was still dealing with abuse from my dad physically and more psychologically and emotionally. And after we had left junior high, we had moved into a different house, into a different city. And things began to progress with my dad's addiction, and things began to progress with his violent behavior, his usage, and everything. So he would blame everything on everybody else. My family did lose the business after my grandpa became very ill with Alzheimer's and dementia. He could no longer speak. He continually fell. And my dad and his brothers did try to keep the business afloat, but it did not work out. It was too much of a strain on their personal relationship as well as trying to run a business. So they let that business go and just went on about their business to find other things. My uncle, my dad's oldest brother, Uncle Jay, we'll just call him that. Uncle Jay actually went to be a custodian at one of the school districts. And we'll say Uncle A, or we'll just call him Bubba. Call him Bubba. So, Uncle Bubba actually, Uncle Bubba actually did go off to Sarah Lee, and that was one of his uh, greatest things that he did. He actually worked for Sarah Lee, and he did great at that. And he would bring home all the goodies and stuff like that to my grandmother's house and stuff like that, so we'd get to actually have treats. Um, when I was in, now this is for both high school and junior high, when I was in those grades, I actually did a lot of skating. And skating was one of those things that I'd go on Friday and Saturday nights occasionally. And that was my outlet to go hang out with my buddies and stuff like that. But my buddies were not girls. My buddies were guys. I was the biggest tomboy. I hung out with so many dudes. It was like they all thought I was crazy. No, I'm a tomboy. I hung out with the guys. I went and we go to the lake and we go to do stupid stuff. Um, but it was fun for me. I enjoyed hanging out with the guys. Though, me as a girl saw hanging out with the guys as a good thing. Other people saw it as she doesn't have any friends. It was more like she was just desperate. And I don't think I was desperate. I think it was more like just wanting a connection with somebody. And that's one of the things that I had to be careful with. So, yeah, it was crazy. But I hung out with the guys and we'd go to the skating rink, and that was Friday and Saturday nights for us. Some of the guys that I hung out with, they actually worked there, which was really cool. And sorry. And I had fun with them. In high school, I think I had one or two boyfriends. One was a football player, and he did a lot of pressuring for me, which was not cool. And nobody ever would have thought, me being the old innocent tomboy, that I would ever date a football player or that I would ever be interested in a football player. But I was, and I think my dad had a big problem with it because he was not white like me. He was a black guy, and I didn't really care. I didn't care what my dad thought because I don't see color. I don't see that as an issue for me because it's like, what does it matter? But when my dad threatened me and said, I will disown you, you know, I will never accept that. That is not okay. He was very, very particular about that. But yeah, let's get on with a little bit faster and move a little forward. Come my sophomore year, my parents split up. My parents were having issues, and dad was stealing money and buying his addiction, buying that all the time. He became more addicted, even when the pills didn't work, even when the other stuff didn't work. He had to find it somewhere else, which was not cool. And I was hurt by that. My mom was hurt by that. My sister was hurt by that because he took out of our mouths. He literally would take money that was for bills or something else and take out of our mouths. So my mom was very livid about that. Um, at this point, my mom tried to do everything she could to keep the family together and to support us and pay the bills. But when somebody is taking out of your mouth, you have no choice but to move on and do what you have to do for yourself and your kids. And that's exactly what my mom did. Fast forward, my dad stole a prescription pad from a doctor, forged a prescription pad, and went to try to go pick it up. And the cops were called. The cops were called, and he went to jail. I was with my aunt at the time, and we went to the drugstore, and my dad went inside. And I looked at my aunt. I said, Dad's getting arrested. And she looks at me and says, No, he's inside getting his meds. I said, and I pointed, and my dad's standing at the door of the pharmacy. And I said, No, he's getting arrested. And my aunt's like, Oh my gosh, what is going on? And my aunt jumped out of the car and was not happy, but was respectful to the police and said, What are you doing? Why are you handcuffing my brother? And he goes, Well, ma'am, we had a somebody call us for a forged script. I was like, What are you talking about? Like, my brother got that from the doctor. Ma'am, he stole a script pad from his doctor. Okay, so my dad went to jail, and he went to jail for a year. I was in 11th grade at this time. My dad was incarcerated in 2002, May of 2002, and crap hit the fan. My grandpa had passed away not too long before that, and it was hard on my dad and everybody else. But my dad didn't know how to handle it. So he seeked out other alternatives to make him not feel anything. And so when he went to jail, he did not think about anybody else but himself. He chose to make bad decisions, and he got a stupid prize. Like I said, you make bad decisions, you get bad prizes. So, and his prize was he went to jail. He was not the person I thought he was at that time. I thought my dad could never do wrong. My dad was the best. And boy, was I wrong. My dad was a narcissistic, controlling, conditional person. His love was conditional. And I realized that a little too late in life. But that's okay. When I was in the high school doing all the schoolwork and stuff like that, my dad was doing stupid stuff and winning stupid prizes. So I don't think that I would be the person I am today if my dad had not been the person he was. It sounds so backwards, but had he not been the way he was, I would not have been as strong as I think I am right now. I am a lot stronger than people give me credit for. I am a lot more Um, I can be vulnerable. I can be outright, you know, what's the word? I don't even know. But I think you'll get what I'm saying. It's just one of those things where I don't play around. I will be straightforward. If you don't like it, you don't have to listen to me. That's fine, whatever. But I'm gonna speak my mind. I'm gonna speak the truth. I'm not gonna BS you. I'm going to be 100% honest about things, and I will be honest to God, truthful always. So yeah, my dad went to prison, and he was gone from May of 20 2002 to May of 2003. I would go with my aunt, grandma, my uncle, which is he's an amazing man. He's passed, but he is truly an amazing man, and he passed not too long ago. He would literally sacrifice his time to make sure that me and my sister, my grandma, would be able to see my dad in prison. Is that an ideal setting for any child or teenager? No, absolutely not. I do not agree about that, but I understand it happens. And for that, I'm grateful because in Texas, there is a place called Palestine, and my uncle would take us there. And there's a prison down there in Palestine, and he took us almost every other weekend to go see my dad. And to my uncle Ralph, we'll just call him that. I truly appreciate him. He was literally a godsend. I would never have got to see my dad. Obviously, not in an ideal setting for anybody, but my grandmother would never have seen him. And that was her baby out of five. So my dad was a selfish man. My dad was a complete ass. I'm going to be honest. Complete ass. But he went to prison and he was there for a whole year. My grades dipped because I was devastated. That was my dad. That was my buddy that I thought at that time. And he was there. He almost didn't get to see me graduate. But in my senior year of May, I had like 2 months left before school was out, and it was a little bit earlier. So in March of 2003, I got told that I was not going to graduate with everybody else because my grades were so bad. And I got into trouble that year, and I went into an alternative school for troubled kids. I did my time. I got in trouble a lot, but when I came out, I did go and I actually did graduate. Now, on May 7th of 2003, I got a telephone call. I was with my mom and my sister at my mom's house, and this is after my parents had already split up and got divorced. It was kind of it was early nighttime. My mom had got off work. We were fixing to eat dinner, and somebody calls and says, "Hello." I'm like, "Hello," and they go, "Hi, baby girl." Me thinking it's my boyfriend. It wasn't my boyfriend. He goes, "Try again." And my eyes and my jaw just dropped. My eyes open. I was like, "Daddy." I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I'm out." And I started bawling. And I was like, "Mom, can I go? Mom, can I go?" Because at that time I was driving and stuff. So I was like, "Can I go? Can I go? Please. Can I go? Can I go, please?" And I was out the door and I went to my grandmother's house because that's where my dad was living. And that's where my dad came to after he got out of prison. And God was definitely watching out for my dad and myself that day because my dad actually got to see me off to prom. My prom, my dad got out on the 7th of May, and my prom was the 10th. So, yeah, it was a blessing to have my dad there and be able to take pictures with me and my sister. It was like truly a blessing. So we did. We took pictures and stuff like that. My dad got to see me go to prom. My dad actually got to see me graduate because I buckled down. And I told those teachers, I said, I'll be dadgum. My dad is going to see me graduate, period. I said, okay. So I proved them wrong and I graduated May 31st, 2003. And I am super blessed that my dad was able to see that because my sister just graduated from nursing school. And even though he got to see her graduate from high school, he didn't get to see her graduate um, from nursing school, which really hurt her. And he didn't get to see his grandson graduate from pre K. So, guys, I want to leave you here because that's all I can handle right now. So, I love you guys. I hope y'all have an amazing Wednesday, and hopefully you'll join me tomorrow for another round of me. I'll be in the same setting. I'm going to be at work for the next couple of days, and we'll just keep going. I love you guys. I hope you have an amazing day. Stay out of trouble. Remember, you are loved, you are worthy, and you are seen. Love you guys. I'll see you later, alligators. Bye.